Hi guys, so a man called Tom who goes by the Twitter handle the Lorryist had an interesting take on why there's a shortage of lorry drivers and how Brexit is making things worse. Of course, I leave a link in the description of this video and I do recommend reading the entire thread. Tom described how there's always been a lorry driver shortage in the UK and how a new generation of workers are completely turned off by the idea of becoming a driver. The work is not just hard with long hours, but it's dirty and dangerous. You are away for long periods of time from family and friends, and while the work is poorly paid, the cost to enter as a driver is too expensive for many. He explained how the public perception of lorry drivers in Britain is wrong, and this has added to the difficulty in recruiting new people to the sector. Just a side note, Britain isn't the only country that's suffering a shortage of heavy goods vehicle drivers in particular. EU countries like France, Italy and Germany are also suffering chronic shortages. The important word here is chronic. This industry has had a difficulty attracting new staff for decades due to the very nature of the work. A recent report in an Italian newspaper talked about how the industry is 15,000 drivers short, and young people are just not interested in signing up. The UK is currently facing a crisis of a 100,000 driver shortage. Tom said that while things were trucking along for some time, a big change happened in 2004. This is when the EU expanded with a number of new countries. The UK was one of the few countries to open its doors straight away to a new pool of drivers. The industry was revitalised pretty much overnight with new, younger drivers with a strong work ethic. They arrived mainly from Eastern Europe. They were predominantly men who were willing to spend the days and weeks necessary away from family and friends in order to save up amounts that they could either take home with them or that they could send back to their original country. However, the arrival of new workers from abroad created its own problems. While the industry was happy to have these new staff to drive their trucks, immigration soon became a problem that could be exploited by unsavoury political figures seeking to divide the public. Tom then mentions how this culminates in Brexit. The public were primed to vote to end freedom of movement, to end immigration, of course by the likes of Nigel Farage and his UKIP racists. The public, who had been generally open to foreigners, had now been fed a decade of bile by both politicians and their right-wing media outlet supporters. The average British lorry driver was convinced that someone was coming to steal their job, and the best way to protect their future was to vote to leave the EU. Now, with freedom of movement over, the drivers are gone, and the UK is facing a massive crisis. Tom talks about hitting critical mass, lorry parks full of lorries but few drivers. While the pandemic is hiding the problem and doing a pretty good job at it, Britain can't get away from the fact that it's an island and it needs trucks to get stuff in. Tom finishes with the statement that we don't know how to fix it. I don't agree with him here. We do know how to fix this, but there isn't a political will in government to fix it, and there isn't pressure from the opposition to get the government to fix it. Because fixing the problem would expose Brexit for being the farce that it is. As I said before, the Tories are not interested in fixing problems, they only create them. They want others to clean up their messes. It looks like the haulage industry and the logistics companies are on their own. They will no doubt struggle through this crisis. Some industries, like the exporting ones, will adapt. Some will disappear and others will survive. But it will not be because of the government, but despite the government. Let me know in the comments section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?